Yes guys, we are of course back with another video, and today we are going to talk about what I promised you yesterday, or the day before that, or even the day before that, because it's probably going up on Friday now, or Saturday. We're going to be watching, or have watched, the I Feel Love mixtape. Now, as you can tell, yes, I've watched it. And it is worse than I thought. It is way worse than I thought. There is everything in this mixtape, apart from the illegal stuff, of course, and it is absolutely horrifying. I don't say that word a lot, but this one genuinely shocked me a little bit, to be honest. And when I said, oh, it's not that bad gore-wise, it is. It's bad. It's bad gore-wise. So what I'm going to do today, guys, is I'm going to take you through each and every clip of this. I'm going to do half now, half the rest tomorrow, so you'll see me in a different shirt tomorrow. Pretty cool, best of both worlds. We alright? So I'm going to do a little bit for you now, and then tomorrow I'll finish the rest, and hopefully this will be up probably Friday night, Saturday morning. We'll see. So, without further ado, I've got my notes up here, and I will read out what happens in this 30-minute mixtape. Yeah, now obviously, fair warning, this definitely will include descriptions of stuff that even disturbs me. So yeah, let's do it. So, you enter this mixtape and there's a picture of, or a video of a close-up finger with a huge splinter in it. Basically what happens is somebody picks up some things, I don't know what they're called, those tweezers, that's the thing. Somebody picks up this leech looking thing, and leech basically pokes itself inside the finger. It's nothing serious, it's just a process of somebody trying to get a splinter out of the finger. It's not too bad. Easily the worst thing in this mixtape. No, I'm just kidding. This is nothing compared to what happens in this mixtape. So we're still in the intro, and the next scene comes up. There's basically a ton of mummified bodies filmed with a very old camera, or it basically has a VHS look to it. It basically includes decapitated mummies and shrunken heads. Now, it comes up as well saying, never seen before material. And they'd be right, because I've never seen any of this stuff that happens in the next 30 minutes, to be honest. And there's a little bit of a scene where there's a guy who's got this mummified head, and he pretends that it's basically giving fellatio, it's giving head to a mummified penis. Pretty cool. So now we get serious. All that jokey stuff stops, and the intro yet again. There's 3 clips in the intro, 4 clips actually. It's basically this really high quality ISIS video thing. It's basically a group of men in orange tracksuits, you know, like you see in a county jail or something like that. And these men proceed to slit their throats. And basically hang them by the legs with hooks, like a meat rack sort of thing. Now it looks like it takes place in a butcher's or something like that, and it just looks like a movie. Now I've heard that ISIS might take, you know, recording equipment and stuff from journalists that they've captured, and it wouldn't surprise me, but we're not going to get into that. We'll get into that another day. Now, the last clip comes up in the intro, and it's basically a woman in a cage. And basically somebody cuts her ear off. Again, it's very movie-like. It looks real, but it's like filmed in the old-fashioned VHS way. And basically, part that made me cringe was this guy gets his finger and he puts it in the cut-off ear hole. Nice. Okay, so I'm going to put a timestamp below for this next bit, because this part, as bad as it sounds, it's just child abuse. Yeah, I hate to say it, and it is just pure child abuse. Now I'll set a timestamp down below for this, so you guys can skip it if you don't want to hear about it, and I don't blame you, because it's pretty bad. So with that being said, first clip of many. So basically there's this baby sat on the floor outside, and a hand comes into view and he starts spraying it with what looks like a hose, but it's not a hose because there's no water coming from it. It looks like it's burning his hands because he's moving about, flailing them like that, trying to hide his hands, but it's just not working. Just before I keep moving on, guys, I am going to go through these as quick as I can because I don't want to spend all day just on one clip. Like, I don't want one clip to be described for a whole minute, because then that's like an 80-minute video, and we don't really want that. But, you know, and I probably won't have that many pauses either. I'll probably just go straight through it, unless anything in the background starts making noise. Next clip, there's two babies on a blanket, and somebody starts slapping them over the head, and they basically drag these two babies off of the blanket onto the floor, individually picking each one up and dropping it down onto the floor. Next clip, this one really got to me actually. It's basically this dude in an orange shirt, and he's basically teaching his kid how to walk. He's holding it up, and when it refuses to walk, because it's only about 3 months old, basically slaps it in the face. And there's another kid in the background of this video actually sleeping. So it looks like that, unfortunately, these kids are used to this thing, which they shouldn't be. And he starts slapping this kid in the chest, and then the worst of the worst part, he starts to pick the kid up. He's sat down, he starts picking it up and just dropping it. And obviously this little baby's head just goes bang on the floor every single time, just because it can't support itself with its legs. And that's that. Next clip, I found this one particularly hard to watch. There's this kid lying on a bed, and this fully grown adult basically stands on the arms of this kid, and it looks painful, it looks horrible. Next clip comes up, and it's basically another baby lying on a bed being slapped. Next clip comes up, and there's this young kid about 6 or 7, and he's basically been choked out by an adult and then let go. Choked out close to death and then let go by this adult. Continuing on. Next clip comes up, and this looks like it's somewhere in Asia. This woman stomps on this toddler over and over again, and then basically picks it up and slams it against the wall. So next clip comes up, it's basically just a short video of a baby with its heart outside of its body, which is pretty impressive but sad at the same time. And yeah, that's the end of those clips. I want to get through them as quickly as possible. It's never nice to talk about that kind of stuff, honestly. But yeah, next clip comes up. It's basically this man who's taped to a large pole outside like somebody's garden or something like that, and this guy with a mask comes along. He starts whipping him over and over again until his back is completely purple. And this is with a cat and 9 tails, by the way. This is one of those big ass whips, one of those horrible ones. Next clip comes up. It's basically an Asian woman in a huge plastic bag, kind of like the one from the Luca Magnotta videos with the kittens. And yeah, basically the same thing happens in that video that happens in Luca Magnotta's video. The air gets sucked out, and it's obviously some kind of weird fucking kink video or something like that. She's basically wriggling around trying to breathe, and at the end it's unclear what happens to her, but it looks like she dies. She gets suffocated and she dies. Next clip comes up. It's basically a guy hung up from a tree. His hands and legs are hung up on a tree, and his arse is in the air, clothed. And he basically gets whipped again with a cat o' nine tails, and then soaked in a weird liquid. I don't know what it was. It could have been gas. It could have been set on fire after that, but it doesn't show it. Poof. Almost there. I'm just kidding. We've still got like 25 minutes left there. Next clip, there's basically a guy with his arm up on a bench. He's lying on the grass. There's blood all over his hand and all over the bench, and some guy walks in with a machete and he just full on whacks it off. He whacked his hand completely off. Now the hand's basically hanging off by a tiny bit of flesh and skin, and the guy with the machete chops the rest of the hand off as the guy rolls around in agony. Yay! Next clip comes up. We've got a woman who looks like a pig on a roast. Oh God, this is a weird one. You know when you put a long metal rod through a pig and you roast it around a fire? This is basically that, except the woman's not got the pipe through her. She's on top of this sort of thing that's holding her to it, and she's going round and round, frying like a pig. Maybe she's just cold, but obviously she's not getting burns or anything like that. She's obviously quite hot in the warm sense, not in that sense, God. But yeah, she looks like she's just been cooked, and it looks like some kind of hog roast kink or something like that. It's fucking weird. People are weird, man, honestly. Next clip comes up. Group of men against a wall. And there's basically a lot of guys going around whipping them or something like that. And there's also like, it zooms out and there's like this 3-year-old hitting some guys with a fucking stick, which is probably not the best parenting, let's be honest. It's pretty fucked. Next clip comes up. There's basically a guy on the floor and he's pretty much dead. This dude comes along, starts stabbing a large iron stick into him. And someone's throwing glass and rocks at him as well. And then the camera zooms out, and there's just like a massive line of people dead or nearly dead on the floor. They're basically being killed, covered in blood, all that kind of stuff. Now the cameraman, or one of the guys in the camera crew, whatever, comes across a guy who's still alive, and they basically slit his throat and behead him and kill him properly. Yeah. Now, next clip comes up. There's basically a guy on a hospital table with a completely fucked up face. Basically, the whole bottom jaw is missing. It looks like some kind of crush accident or something like that. Next clip comes up. There's a woman in traditional Indian clothing, and she's basically hitting this guy on the floor with an axe. Now she does stop for us. She's really going for it, and she stops for a second just to sort out a headscarf. You know, that headscarf that Asian women sometimes wear. I've forgotten the name of it. I do apologise. She sorts out for a bit and then just continues hitting this guy with an axe. Yeah. Next clip, we scroll down. It's basically a naked old man on a chair. It looks like he's asleep at first glance after a cheeky wank. And then you suddenly realise that he's dead. Now somebody comes running in, it looks like his daughter, and she basically dials 911 or 999, depending on where you're from, and she covers him with a blanket, takes him to the floor and starts performing CPR on him. And the ambulance crew also come and finish the job. And this is all in sort of a fast-paced motion. It's going at like 10 times speed, so it's all really quick, and I think it sort of jumps from the moment this woman's doing CPR to the moment the ambulance crew step in. Next clip comes up. We've got a guy on the floor again. They're always on the floor, these people. It's basically burnt to a crisp. Like literally 99% of his body's covered, apart from his head. His head's completely fine, but the rest of his body's just covered in charcoal and blood and burns and all that shit, and obviously he's crying in pain. Next clip comes up, and it's just the emergency broadcast system, and just play some shit over it. That's all. Next clip, there's basically a close-up of a... Oh yeah, this one is about... Yeah, I should probably warn you guys for this one as well. This is a section of self-harm and body mutilation. I probably won't include a link down to this, but yeah, it's still some serious shit. So there's this close-up of a slit neck, and this guy basically takes a razor blade and he starts picking little bits of his neck off with the razor blade. It's pretty fucked up. He doesn't bleed out. He's slit his neck from there to there, and he starts picking these little bits off with a razor blade. Next clip, somebody mutilating their own arm. They're basically cutting really deep into it with a knife and it's bleeding. Next one is basically a compilation of pictures of dead people, which is basically designed to shock you. It's basically a naked lady with no injuries, dead. Close-up of a man who's hung himself. Picture of an old guy hanging from the roof. Short video of someone taking a video of themselves with a slit throat. And a close-up of a woman's face. That's about it. Oh, this one really put me off. This one caught me off guard, and it caught me off guard hard. Basically, there's this close-up of a guy's penis and balls, if we're going to call them the scientific term. He's got this scalpel, and he inserts the scalpel into his penis helmet, you know, under the foreskin or whatnot, and he inserts the blade all the way in there, and he's obviously he inserts it. Oh, I can't even. He inserts it all the way through, and he's obviously holding the end result, you know, at the bottom of his penis. And then he takes his finger off, and the penis just starts squirting blood everywhere. And nothing's made me cringe like that in quite a while. I'm not gonna lie, it's bad. Oof. Right, clip number 30. Let's bear in mind there's about 80 clips here, so I'm doing one day and then doing the rest the other. Christ. Next clip comes up. Somebody's balls are tied up, and they're all swollen, and he inserts a needle into one. This makes me cringe. Into one testicle and out the other side. That's disgusting, man. Yeah, moving on. Next clip was basically a close-up of the back of a guy's wrist, so here, like this. And he basically slits the back of his wrist open with a knife, and it just sort of bends down slowly and shows you inside the wrist. Is pretty fucked up. Next clip's just a quick video of an open wound on an arm, and the inside looks like baked beans, which is weird. I've never seen an arm look like that before. It could just be the front of the muscle. I don't know, it just looked like Branston's. It was weird. Or Heinz, it looked like Heinz. Put me off beans for life, I'll tell you that. Next clip comes up. It's basically a topless girl with a razor blade cutting down her arm, you know, down there like that. And next, moving on, a sign comes up that says Death Addict. It's like it's from a site called Death Addict. And it's basically a guy lying on the ground and both of his eyes are missing. Next clip comes up. It's basically a guy and a girl on a video chat. There's a girl wearing cat ears, and she's got this AK-47. I think it's an AK-47. It could just be an ordinary rifle. I don't know my guns. I'm not from the land of the great. I don't know my guns. She's trying to get the safety off of this gun, and she points it in her face, which even I know you shouldn't do with a gun. She turns it off and accidentally pulls the trigger and shoots herself in the face. Next clip comes up, and it's basically somebody draining blood from a covered up wound into a water bottle. So I think it's on the arm. The arm's all bandaged, but it's bleeding through badly. And they're basically catching all the blood in a water bottle. Yeah. Next up, there's a really low quality video of a brown haired woman shoots herself with a pistol in the head. Nothing new. Next clip comes up. It's basically a video of an Indian couple who they've set up some step ladders, and they basically jumped off each side of the step ladders and hung themselves together. Now it cuts, and in another room of this same house, there's basically a kid hanging from a doorway. So it's like they've hung the kid first and then hung themselves. I don't know, maybe they were in fear of something, or it was set up. I don't know. Next clip is basically just a man hanging from a tree. That's about it. Next one comes up. It's basically two selfies of this very pretty woman in quick succession, and then the last picture is basically her hanging from a roof, and then a close-up of her face. This is difficult, dude. This really is the hardest thing I've ever watched. Next clip comes up. It's basically a man hanging from a television pole. And that's it. Next clip, some more quick pictures in succession. Basically of half a woman. Her legs are separate from her body, and she's wearing this black bra thing. Next clip comes up. It's a very blurry video of just a slit open chest. Somebody lying on the floor with a slit open chest. It's really hard to see because the camera's going around it a bit too quickly. Next clip is a selfie of an Asian woman, and it cuts to a picture of her hanging, and then one of the ambulance crew getting her body down. Next clip comes up. There's basically an Asian man sitting on a white couch. He takes out this pistol, and the blood goes all over the white couch. Yeah, and that was the most disturbing thing about that. I can't joke about that. I cannot joke about that. Yeah, basically shoots himself and the blood goes all over the white couch. Next clip comes up. It's a very blurry video of a man who's tied up on the ground, and he gets beheaded from behind. So they're going from behind, and the blood basically pisses out everywhere, and he's beheaded in about 5 seconds. It's really quick. Luckily, it was a quick end. Yeah, not as much suffering. Next clip, you've got a close-up of a female cutting her tongue with a razor blade over and over again, with the blood obviously pouring out because your tongue bleeds a shitload if you cut it. I know that. Next video is basically an ISIS video. There's a group of people lying on the ground with the ISIS flag in the background, and they're basically going around beheading these people. Next clip comes up. There's a man who's dead on the ground, who doesn't even look like a man anymore. He's headless, armless, legless. His pants are down, showing his arse, and there's people looking down at him, kicking his limbs about and throwing stuff at his torso. He's got this large metal pole sticking out of his bum, and then somebody begins to axe the shit out of his torso. Next up, right, this is a big one. I'm just going to read all this out for you, because this is like 20 lines of text. So I'm just going to read them out. Basically, a ton of pictures comes up. So I'm going to go through pretty much all of these. I'm going to skip the ones that I just repeated, because a lot of them are sort of repeated stuff that you don't really need to see, and other stuff, yeah, is just not worth talking about, or I can't understand what's going on in the picture. So you've got a ton of pictures. You've got an Asian baby, you've got a blonde anorexic woman, you've got this kid's face with 2 gigantic eye tumours, which is pretty sad to see. You've got an autopsy where somebody's slitting open the skin from the vagina upwards into the stomach. You've got a skeleton lying on some grass, which is weird. It looks fake, but I don't think it is. I don't know. You've got this black girl lying on a hospital bed with somebody's hand making a thumbs up sign next to her. Somebody wearing blue gloves, squeezing a baby's head, and the baby's lips are all black. You've got the aftermath of a face flaying where it's mostly skull and muscle. It looks a bit like Funky Town Gore, like the aftermath from that. In fact, it probably could be. You've got a picture of people pulling out somebody's intestines. You've got a close-up of a dead woman's face with her own eyeball in her mouth. You've got somebody's ripped off full face on the floor, including eyes, ears, a hand, and 2 feet. You've got somebody's flayed head on top of their torso. You've got an aftermath of a shotgun suicide where the face is completely blown off. You've got a severely anorexic woman posing for the camera. You've got a caved in head with blood surrounding it. You've got a dead baby with no arm. A guy's corpse with the torso cut open and guts spilled out, as well as a missing arm. You've got a very blurry picture of somebody licking the mouth of a skull. You've got a dead little girl who's fallen off a bike and her brain matter's all over the floor. That was a shocking one, pretty horrible to see. You've got another shotgun suicide aftermath, basically the same thing as I mentioned before. A train track decapitation. You've got a man with a large pole through his chest. You've got a before and after of somebody who's had their breasts removed. A dead woman in a bathtub who's drowned. You've got, this one made me laugh, actually. This one made me laugh. This was a funny one. This is like a little bit of comedy in all the shit that's going down. Yeah, basically this this skinny guy has his whole head up this obese woman's vagina. And that made me laugh. It was funny. Yeah, back to the serious stuff. You've got somebody licking shit off a toilet. Just a picture. These are all pictures, of course. Got a picture of somebody's mouth with poo in it. You've got a man masturbating with poo on his penis. And then a close-up of his face wearing a gimp mask, also with poo on it. And then to finish us off, we've got 3 pictures of hanging dead men and a hanging little girl. And I will get back to you guys tomorrow wearing a new t-shirt, which it won't be tomorrow, it'll be the same day. It'll just be me wearing a different t-shirt. Yeah. Future me, incoming. Alright, so we're back with day 2. I needed that break because them first 20 minutes were very intense. Now, not a lot happens in the last 10 minutes. It's pretty boring, content wise. I've literally only got like 4 clips here. I could have finished it in one, but the last 10 minutes are just 4 very long clips and pictures. So moving on, get this over and done with now. Clip number 51 we're on. We left off at 51. It's basically just somebody blowtorching the fuck out of a mouse or a rat. They're just, yeah, burning it to death with a blowtorch, and that's it. Now, number 52, it's more pictures. More pictures of dead people. It's basically, yeah, the same shit you saw like 2 minutes earlier, sorry. More fucking monotony. It's just boring at that point. It's like they've tried hard to shock you. They've achieved that, and then they're trying to shock you even more. Fucking pointless. Yeah, it's basically just the same shit that you saw or heard about before clip 51. There's a lot of execution pictures, and most of them are just basically pictures of people on the electric chair, like the aftermath from that. Like I say, I'm not going to spend too much time on it because all the pictures are unique, don't get me wrong, they're all weird in their own way. But obviously it takes too long, and I need to get through this video at some point. So there's that. I mean, it's mostly just dead body after dead body, just to the point where it's no longer shocking, it just gets boring, and it's pointless me going through each and every single picture. Luckily it only lasts about 30 seconds, but there's about a good 50, 60 images in that 1 minute, 30 seconds, Jesus Christ. Fucking frying my brain, it's that bad. Anyway, moving on. Next one, it's basically a very grainy video that starts from what looks like see-through curtains. It's somebody filming a barn, and then a logo comes up, and it basically says Nightmare on Josh Street. Now, I call this a terrible animation. I'll probably show screens of it if I can. Now, it looks like an animation by a guy on YouTube known as Lee Hardcastle, but I realised it wasn't. I'll get to that in a second. It looked like a terrible, horrible, boring, shitty animation. Pretty freaky, actually. Now I decided to think, I thought to myself, I'll watch this. So I put the sound on, and the sound is basically just somebody, it just sounds, instead of the normal animation sound, the sound in the background that you can hear is like somebody choking to death. It's weird, it's like somebody gulping. And I don't think that's the actual show's sound, to be honest. It was basically somebody struggling to breathe. Weird. And it was just the same sound clip over and over again. Now I recognise the animation, so I looked it up. I just looked for Nightmare on Josh Street, and it's from a animation called Mr. Meaty, which was actually shown on Nickelodeon. And then I thought, yeah, I've heard of that before. So I recognised the animation. I just thought it was somebody different to what it actually was. So yeah, I did a bit of research. It was just a whole like 10-minute, well, 5-minute Mr. Meaty episode with some weird sounds over the top of it instead of a normal voiceover and music. And then the last clip, it's basically your ending, I think it's like your outro, and it's basically it's a normal clip. It looks like an advert or something like that. It's basically a woman tossing and turning in bed. There's a weird flashing over the top of it, like really sort of, what's the word? Epileptically affecting, yeah, epileptic seizure affecting shit. That sort of stuff. It's just a weird flashing, and I couldn't watch it. I had to skip through it. It just really hurts your head when you're watching it. It just shows this woman getting up, eating breakfast, reading a book, washing her face, sorting out laundry, watching Netflix, and then the screen goes completely black, and that's it. Like it just ends. It just ends after like 27 minutes. The screen just goes black, and then there's like 3 minutes of just black screen, and that's it. So basically nothing in the last 10 minutes of this mixtape actually happens. It's just complete dog shit. I mean, you probably would have been better off if I didn't have to cover the last 10 minutes, because there was literally nothing to say. And this has only taken me 6 minutes to record, so I could have done it, got it out today. But yeah, I thought there was going to be a bit more than that. And the first 20 minutes of this mixtape were pretty fucking horrible, I'm not going to lie. It was pretty shocking to watch. Was it worse than Snuff R73? I'm going to say yes. Probably just from a personal point of view, I'm going to say yes, just because the clips were so quick and all that kind of stuff. In Snuff R73, I'm not trying to rate them, I'm just saying that in Snuff R73 the clips were really drawn out. You could sort of get your bearings and look and see what the fuck was going on. Whereas in this it was just like one clip to another clip to another clip to another clip, basically giving you 54 clips in the space of 30 minutes, not including the big montage, which were like 3 or 4 minutes of pictures. So basically, yeah, you had 25 minutes and 54 clips in those 25 minutes. But yeah, it was pretty bad, I've got to admit. It was pretty awful to watch. Definitely won't be watching it again, obviously. Yeah, There's not much else I can say about it, apart from I'm covering it because I don't think anybody else has covered it. Yeah, that's I Feel Love. There was absolutely no love in that mixtape whatsoever, and now I'm rambling. So I'm going to leave you guys with that full explanation of I Feel Love. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, maybe smash that little bell next to the subscribe button. You'll be doing me a favour. Pretty cool of you. Cool dude. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.